Maverick City is finally addressing all the rumors and controversy that they've been involved with over the last year or so. Now, me personally, I love Maverick City. I just went to go see them in Chicago, so I'm a fan. But they've sat down recently with Ruslan and had a podcast where they discussed a lot of the controversy from collaborations with Quavo and other secular artists to the Dante Bogo situation. And today we're going to go through and we're going to unpack this interview and see what you guys think about it on the other side of it.
Situation. And what I'm not going to do is talk about rumors about any of this stuff.
Okay.
I want to talk about stuff that's documented.
Yeah.
So people first started seeing.
Now, just a quick disclaimer, this is a reaction video, so I will have to pause the video and stop and add commentary or else I'll get a copyright strike. So that's the reason why I'm starting and stopping the video. So just so you guys know.
Red flags, yellow flags. The thing that I remember hearing murmurings about is like Dante Bogo said that he likes Lil Nas X and he wants to see Lil Nas X perform. And then Maverick City catches all the backlash for it. And so what were you guys thinking throughout that entire ordeal? Was he trolling? Was he intentionally trying to poke?
What were we thinking?
Yeah. And what were y'all thinking about that?
Wait, can I say this before you answer?
Sure.
Two things that are important to identify. One, we love Dante. He's our brother. And I want to make that clear. Like, not
That's the proper response. We love him and he's our brother. They didn't turn their back on him.
previously, today. Right now, we are in relationship with him. We love him. But two, and this goes to what Norman was saying earlier, if one person within Mav City did it, all of Mav did it, Norman did it, JJ did it, all the executives did it. And I used to say, the outside sees everybody as one unit. They don't distinguish between tribal, Mav City, the executives, and the individual singers.
And that's what people in the world do. People in the world lump Christians, period, all in one category, right? So when you see one pastor fall from grace or you see one scandal coming out with another pastor, the world that aren't Christians, and even we do it to ourselves, we lump everybody in with the bad seeds. Oh, that's how all Christians are. That's why I don't want to be a Christian, because of people like that, the hypocrites and this and that. And I think that's what people do no matter what the situation or who the people group is, and that's what they done with Maverick City as well.
I remember the headline from that was Maverick City artist says, or I think it was even Maverick City says they're excited to see Lil Nas X, right? I mean, that's what came out of.
And Mav City can't speak.
The further interesting part of that is Dante was signed to a completely different label at the time. He was nominated on his own for 3 Grammys. That's why he was there.
So he wasn't there representing Maverick City.
He wasn't even, transparently, he wasn't even there with us.
Boom. So, Dante Bogo's entitled to his own opinion. He's entitled to like what he likes. He's entitled to choose the musician that he likes. Do I agree with it? Do I think it's okay for a Christian to listen to Lil Nas X? I don't. Lil Nas X has blasphemed Jesus more times than I can count, and he's dressed up as the devil in his videos. He's got a video of him twerking on the devil, and he's also homosexual. So this goes against a lot of Christian beliefs. So I don't think it's cool for a Christian to be listening to Lil Nas X or idolizing him or being excited about him. I think we need to be praying for Lil Nas X.
He was there as Dante Bogo, nominated for, he had just released his own solo album, Joyful. He was there as Dante Bogo. He was walking the red carpet as Dante Bogo. Maverick walked the carpet. He didn't walk with us. Not saying he was at that time apart from us, but again, Dante has never to this day had a deal with Maverick City aside from a publishing deal. I've known Dante well before he was in Maverick City. And so I think when you ask us what did we think about Dante saying, he was excited to see Lil Nas X. Dante's excited to see Lil Nas X. Transparently, if you go through things and you look at our catalog since then, he hadn't featured on anything, right?
So, I think that's pretty much all that needs to be said, is they didn't really have any ill will towards him or any feelings about him doing that. But so now we're going to get into the Bad Bunny situation.
Because the video that went viral was him on a party bus listening to Bad Bunny. Then it turned into, you gonna get a demon for listening to Bad Bunny. And I was like, you guys are crazy. And it was like a TikTok collage of a bunch of Christian influencers saying, you opening yourself up to demons. And I'm like, I don't think that's what's happening. You're not gonna get a demon listening to Bad Bunny. Now,
Bro, they roasted him. They roasted him so bad in the TikToks and in comment sections, and it was all over social media. And don't get me wrong, like, shouldn't be listening to him. You shouldn't be promoting that type of stuff. But at the same time, though, it's not going to get a demon. Do I think you can invite some less than ideal situations into your life by listening to secular music? Absolutely. I think if you listen to secular music, it can entice you to smoke weed, drink, do crimes. I think it can have an impact on you as someone that used to be in the streets and has been to prison before and committed crimes, robberies, selling drugs, things like that. I was influenced a lot by the music that I listened to. And when I backslid, when I came home from prison after meeting Jesus, that's the reason why it was. I backslid by listening to music, Lil Baby, Gunna, all those types of that music, and I backslid. I started smoking weed and drinking again and having sex, sexual immorality, and this was all due to the music that I was listening to.
I don't listen to Bad Bunny. I can't tell you one Bad Bunny song. I can't hum you one Bad Bunny melody. I have no idea what his music sounds like, but like, y'all gotta chill. And then I got into it with another Christian YouTuber. It was a big blow up. It was a big mess.
I remember.
Yeah, and long story short, as I'm defending Dante,
We came out with the statement.
a statement comes out.
Yeah.
Now,
You know why now?
I know I
Now, for context, this is the part of the video where they get ready to address the whole controversy with Dante Bogo that happened, I want to say about a year ago now, where he had the nude picture get posted on Instagram. And a lot of people in the music industry started distancing themselves from him whenever this happened. So that's what they're getting ready to start talking about right now.
do not think it was because of the party bus situation.
Absolutely
From my
not.
understanding, there was something inappropriate posted to his Instagram story that I did not see with my own eyes, nor did I want to. But there was something posted, and I don't know if he was high, I don't know what was going on, but there was something inappropriate and explicit posted. And then the next day, Maverick City does put out a statement and distances themselves. Okay, so walk me through that situation, because people still think it was the Bad Bunny thing, and I'm like, I'm 99% sure that it's not the Bad Bunny thing. Yeah, tell me a little bit about that and what happened.
Now, just for copyright strike, I have to pause the video for a second, but what were you guys' thoughts? If you knew about this when it happened, what was your point of view? What was your opinion? How did you feel about this whole Dante Bogo situation? Because I don't know about you guys, but Dante Bogo makes some fire music. You're My Champion with Bethel Music, and all the other songs that he's done with Maverick City. I thought dude was great. He's got some really great music. He could sing, and I personally was like, dang, man, that sucks, So what were you guys' opinions when that happened?
And why, even though he wasn't signed at the time, why the need to put out something?
So, and I'm gonna let JJ take it at a point right after me, but Dante has addressed this himself. So there is no conjecture here. He's admitted to the inappropriate photo on multiple platforms. So we didn't want to be the people to put that out because, as we've stated over and over, we saw him as family, right? And this wasn't an attempt by us to throw him under the bus.
I think they handled that with a lot of grace and a lot of love.
A lot of people is that we wrote the statement in conjunction with Dante. He was fully aware. We did meeting after meeting with his team all day, all night. And that's why the statement came out so late in the day. Like, it came out nearly at midnight is because we alerted every member of our organization prior to it coming out, because this was a huge moment for us. This was the first time Maverick City would ever have made a statement about conduct, ever, in our existence. And
that would set the tone for any future artists, because when you're a powerhouse like Maverick City, with lots of moving parts, there's several different groups. Even Maverick City has a new group called Mav House. I don't know if you guys know this. I learned when I went to their concert in Chicago that there's a new group, two different groups merged together as one called Mav House. And when you got a lot of different new young artists they're popping, they're on the scene, they're in front of everybody's faces, and they're feeling themselves, you can have a little bit of, the enemy works on everybody, guys. These worship leaders are no different. And so having a code of conduct and how to carry yourself, I think, is very paramount to make make sure that people like us that are watching don't see something that helps us to then turn around and sin more, because what a leader does in moderation, the leadee, if you will, the congregation, the crowd will do at mass. So say for instance, if your pastor has a beer occasionally, right? But you come in, you see that one beer, you're like, oh, well, Pastor so-and-so drank a beer, I could drink a beer. But they don't know that that beer was just once a year. You know, you think that he's having a beer every day. So now, boom, you're drinking every single day because you saw your pastor do it once. And what we see our leaders do, we think that we can do, but we don't know the moderation that they do it in. So it's always good to have a code of conduct.
This wasn't the first thing that happened that people had made noise about, but it was the first thing that happened that we had visible proof of that took place, to the point that admittedly I was sent what happened, right? And so there was no way around it. Multiple artists had seen it, and it was something that needed to be addressed, because whether or not we are worship pastors or whether we do pastor people, we are still Christians, and we have a platform, and we have to steward those platforms with respect, dignity, and in accordance to our beliefs.
Yeah, because you got a lot of people watching you.
I wasn't there. Whether it was intentional or unintentional, it was irrelevant to us. But the thing that was important was,
it doesn't matter why the photo got leaked. It doesn't matter if it was on purpose, if it was on accident. The fact of the matter is that it did happen, and I think that he did the right thing by taking a step back out of the limelight for a little bit. I do feel like he probably should have waited a little bit longer for coming back on the scene, but he did the right thing by taking some time away, getting some counseling, and working on himself. So now we're going to fast forward, and you guys can watch this full interview. It's on Tribal, Maverick City's YouTube channel. You can watch the full interview. I'm just trying to give you guys a breeze through of these controversies that they've gone through. Now we're going to address the Quavo Grammy situation.
Yes, granted, is doing this tribute, which was a beautiful tribute, and I thought you guys executed it with class and all that. But at the same time, like the lion's share of the Migos catalog has been the antithesis of what Maverick represents.
Right.
And how do you guys wrestle through those sort of decisions? Because
And sorry about the static, guys. That's not my end. That's their end. The static that you hear in the background is from the Tribal podcast.
again, now we're so again to backtrack, the lens that people are looking at it, big, it's bad, right? You got loose theology. The fastest way to get a platform in a church is to be a worship leader, and they're filtering this, the Dante situation, and now they're on stage with one of the Migos.
What did you guys think about that? Were you even aware of this? And what did you think about the collaboration between Maverick City and the Migos, Maverick City and Quavo? Was it something that you feel was okay? Was it something that you were like, what's going on? I know that there was a lot of content creators talking about it. Marcus Rogers was saying something about him, how they were turning too worldly and just prophecies and stuff like that. What were you guys' take on it? I don't know if I disagree with him, but I do know that the Bible says, what fellowship does light have with darkness? I am under the assumption that God can use us for any purpose, any way he sees fit. I, for instance, go back into the prison where I got saved at, and I talk to dudes in there all the time about Jesus and what the Lord has done in my life and how I got led to the salvation in that same prison camp. I mean, and it's about as wicked as it gets in prison, so I feel like there is a place for that. But listen to the thing that happened while they were doing this collaboration with Quavo, which I think is really, really awesome.
I told Norman this like the day after. I was like, dude, I had this really weird dream. I don't know what it means, but maybe just pray on it and see what you think. 2 weeks after I tell him about this dream, the Grammys call and say, hey, we were thinking, we do this tribute every year to artists who have passed away, and we want to do it this year, but we want you guys to do it, but we kind of want to highlight Takeoff. Would you guys like? It was an immediate yes.
Now, for context, you guys will have to watch the full video, but what he has just said was that he had a vision or a dream that they were doing the funeral for Takeoff. Like they were actually singing and worshiping at the actual funeral. But this is 2 weeks after the funeral. So the Grammys contacted them and was like, hey, we want you to do a tribute for Takeoff. And so obviously it wasn't necessarily like a prophetic thing, but it was like, okay, I see that God's trying to do something here. So we're going to say yes.
Because it felt like it was connected to vision, to purpose, to calling. And so I think one of the things that you're asking is like, how do we wrestle with those things? It's like, well, we do what we feel like we do what we feel like the Lord's calling us to, right? So that wasn't a clout decision. That wasn't trying to build hype. That wasn't like, oh man, we'll be at the Grammys. Like, it was none of that. It was, oh my gosh, absolutely. Little did we know, and I'll say this.
And in all fairness, they're bound to win a Grammy anyway if they haven't won one already.
Just so you know, little do we know that week, we were literally ministers of the gospel. I mean, the emotion, the pain, the grief from every single rehearsal, even to the moment that we went up on the stage, it was like, and I'm not over exaggerating, like each time we got together to rehearse, even almost before we went on the stage, it was like, I don't know if I can do this, breakdown crying. Like it was that palpable. And so that whole week it was like, hey, let's just pray real quick. Can we pray?
I think that's awesome. I think that's what really maybe the whole assignment from the Lord was really about, to show the love of Jesus Christ in a season of grieving where Quavo, has lost his uncle or his nephew. I think Quavo's the uncle and Takeoff's the nephew. Either way it goes, he's lost his close family member, his brother, the one that they've been doing business with and, doing life with for the last few years. And you lose this close person to you. And you have these other artists that are followers of Christ and they know the love of God and they know the strength that comes from the Holy Spirit. For them to be able to minister and pray with him and help him through this season, I think that's what the true purpose was. And now there may be someone that sees this collaboration and they are now led to the Lord because of this. I think I can give that props. What I can't give props to is someone like Kendrick Lamar using the Lord's name for clout when he's not truly a Christian, and then trying to take that and run with it. Now, there are people that have said that they're close to the Lord now, or that they start following the Lord because of Kendrick. I mean, if God can use that, that hypocritical, blasphemous music and then turn someone into a believer, I think God can do all things. But with this, I feel like this is a more genuine relationship where the Lord was actually using Maverick City to minister.
I don't know how many times we did that. I don't know how many times we got to be a voice of encouragement. I don't know. I mean, so I know from my chair and from my decision making and from my perspective, like we were supposed to do that.
All right, so now I'm going to fast forward to the Will Smith incident. We'll talk about this real briefly.
Talk about this Will Smith thing. That's the last thing that got y'all in hot water.
Oh,
okay.
Let's talk about it.
I remember seeing it,
And this one's much more simple and quick and straight to the point.
and I remember thinking, this is my honest thoughts was,
EJ,
this isn't really a Christian song.
It wasn't.
You know what I mean? Like my thought was like, this isn't really a Christian song per se, but if this becomes the catalyst for him to come back to Jesus, I'm all for it. And could this be that?
I don't even know if Will Smith was ever a Christian, though, so I don't know why Ruslan said come back. But shout out to Ruslan, because Ruslan always has some W takes on things and always asks the right questions. So big shout out to Ruslan for this entire interview.
I just want to say this on the front end.
I was going to say.
Maverick City Music was in no way, shape, form involved in a BET tribute with Will Smith.
I think that's
There
the
you
thing
go.
that really needs to be said. Maverick City had nothing to do with Will Smith.
And this-
Y'all just mad. Like,
this-
it had nothing to
hold
do
on,
with
hold
it.
on.
No.
Nothing to
But
do.
now I want to say this.
I don't know if it's anything about him, people being mad. Like, well, what would they have as a reason to be mad over, I just think people thought it was weird.
This is where a lot of these lines get blurred. Chandler Moore,
A solo artist.
a solo artist,
Sang.
who was releasing a solo album, who was
Right.
in the middle of his campaign performance.
Okay, so that's what it is. Chandler Moore, which is one of the main singers from Maverick City, did a collaboration. And I think the rest of the world just interpreted it as, okay, Maverick City is doing this collaboration with Will Smith.
Performed with Will Smith, right? But no one knows that. I mean, that's Maverick City up there, right? And so I think for us, like, the reason that we say it tongue in cheek, but that's sort of some of the.
It's not tongue in cheek. It's reality.
Well, no,
It's
I mean the
like-
way. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
when people see Chandler Moore and a bunch of black people singing in a choir, you think it's Mav City.
Yeah.
No one on that stage is a member of Maverick City except Chandler Moore, and he was there as a solo artist, period. Maverick City was never there. All the anger about TikTok, Maverick City was never there.
Yeah, they flamed him on TikTok about that too.
They weren't there. So all the dreams that God gave you about Mav City on BET,
I think he's taking his shot at Marcus Rogers right there with that one.
it's never happened. Maverick City was never there. So either you a lie or God's a lie. But
And God is not a lie. And so the last thing that we're going to talk about, this interview happened before the Glorilla and Maverick City Kirk Franklin collaboration happened. So this incident right here will not be discussed with Maverick City, but after Maverick City and Kirk Franklin did this collaboration with Glorilla, she did come out and say that she was going to be celibate until marriage. But I do remember seeing a picture on her Instagram from October where she was pregnant. I don't know if that's a recent picture or if it's an old picture, because it's the only one that I saw on her Instagram without scrolling too far, because there's a lot of inappropriate photos on her Instagram of her being pregnant. So I don't know if she came to this decision before being pregnant or if she had the baby a while ago and she was just posting old photos. Either way it goes, I feel like the Lord is using these collaborations to do something in the artist, to do a work in the artist, because if you guys know anything about Glorilla, it's straight vagina rap. Like OnlyFans, models use her music in the background of their videos and stuff like that. Like that's the theme for ratchetness these days. It's music like Glorilla, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, and they make women nowadays think that that's the normal behavior. Whereas in the kingdom of God, which Glorilla, her dad is a pastor, from what I remember, she's a pastor's kid, so like she knows better. So the image that she's portraying to the world is demonic. It's satanic. Her music is sending the next generation in the wrong direction. So I hope that this collaboration has helped her to come to her senses a little bit, and maybe we'll start to hear some more sensible music from her in the future. But what do you guys think about this Maverick City podcast? What are your opinions on their collaborations, and what do you think about them doing this interview with Ruslan? Check out the full interview on the Tribal YouTube channel. It's a really great interview. It's about 2 hours long, and there's a lot of things that they talk about that I didn't touch on in this video. That's going to do it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.